All right, I'm gonna make a little video on how to propagate an Amazon sword plant. Some of y'all might know, some of y'all might not. So if this helps, cool. If not, just another video. Look at some cool fishing plants. So I picked up this Amazon sword right here, the bigger one in the back. I picked it up probably about 3 weeks ago at a local fish store here in San Antonio. I liked it originally because it was big, even though you could totally tell it's grown out of the water. So you'd expect like all the leaves to eventually die off before the good leaves start coming back that we're looking for. But I bought it mainly for the roots because it had like a big root system already that I could just plug in. That's those spoon-shaped leaves are what it looks like when it's grown immersed, which most plants are. So when you buy aquarium plants, like they normally die back. People think they're dying. It's just because they're not used to be grown underwater. So they got to transition to their submerged like state. And I'll show you over here. Here's my Pleco tank. This super red Pleco tank, I took 2 trimmings probably like 6 months ago and plopped them in here. And even though it looks a little rough because my Plecos love to eat on it, I put these 2 in here and they've grown to what we're kind of looking for. More of like the longer sword shaped leaves compared to the spoon leaves. Oh, we'll go back over here to this one. All right, so when I bought this, it had a couple. So whenever they go underwater, they'll start shooting off. Watch out, dude. They'll start shooting off these shoots right here with new plants. And you can see like this one has 3 potential new plants, but hardly anything on it yet. But then if you look at this shoot over here, it actually has catfish. It actually has 3 good sized ones I've been watching and waiting to do, waiting to propagate, make them into 3 new plants. So today we're gonna take these 3 plants. You got one right here with really good roots, and one right here with really good roots. And what we do is we go down here toward the bottom, find it, just get as low as you can. And you have yourself your chute with your 3 new plants. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this one back here because I only have 2 pots ready to go, or that I want to use. So I'm just probably going to use these 2 main ones, but I'll explain a little bit more about the plants real quick in case you didn't know. So what we're looking for, you can tell these being grown underwater the last like 3 weeks to a month, however long they had at the fish store. I think they only had it for like a week before I bought it. This plant was like 25 bucks. I liked it a lot because it was huge, but you can tell I've already taken several different leaves off. These spoon leaves are not the underwater growth. These are the above water growth, which is how most plants are grown. It's just easier for them to do it before they sell it. What we're looking for are these. You can see the newer growth. I'm not sure you can see that good, but the newer growth are these longer leaves right here. This is what we're looking for. Eventually, all these will die back. So you can tell they're just all dying back. So they're not used to being underwater. And I've probably taken 10 to 15 off already. Sometimes I'll just chop them all the way down and just use the roots. And it seems to help them grow out faster. But I wanted to put something in there to keep the fish from a little bit of aggression. So I bought this plant, stuck it in a pot, and yeah, here we are. So a couple more things about this tank. I don't have it planted totally. Like I don't plant into the substrate. What I use is I use these pots, these terracotta pots, and you can see like this one. This is a cryptocorn, like the roots are already coming out the bottom. I put them in here so that you can transplant them. I'm going to move here in about probably 6 months, so I want to be able to like unplant all these and have really good strong plants to plug into a planted aquarium probably in the next like year or so. I'm just trying to grow me out some really good ones so I don't have them all growing in a planted tank, and then you have to pull them all out, and it just totally, a sword plant like that, the roots can cover almost the entire tank. So like when you get ready to transplant the entire plant, it'll totally pull out and like just make a mess. So I'm just growing them in the pots, which is another way you can use really good soil without spending hundreds of dollars to fill this entire tank with the fluvial stratum I'm going to use. I just pack these pots, throw some root tabs in there, which I'll show you in a minute, and put them in here, grow them with a good light. This fluvial plant 3.0, the 48 inch, or this is a 36-inch, and yeah, they seem to be doing good. These plants are super heavy root feeders, meaning they get almost all their nutrients just from the roots. So you want to pack these with good soil. You want to pack these with very good soil and root tabs, and it'll really help them get going fast. This tank doesn't have CO2, and these plants don't need CO2, but they're great for a background plant. Eventually, you know, this thing will totally grow out here about this big, and it'll just be a huge centerpiece, and it'll give lots of, you know, breaks for the fish, so my angels won't fight as much in here, and it gives them a spot to lay eggs. So let's take our chute right here, and we'll go outside, and I'll show you the rest of the process. I'll show you what I do on most potted plants. It's a cool idea, like I said, inside, without having to pot your whole tank. You can just use a terracotta pot, you know, $2-3 at Home Depot. These give it a good enough support for these bigger plants that they don't fall over. I also use like whiskey glasses, but these in particular, they come with a hole in the bottom, as you can see. Normally I get a little river rock right here, river stone, throw it in there, blocks the hole. Same thing with this one, blocks the hole just so the stratum doesn't come out. Secondly, I use stratum. This right here, it's my favorite substrate by far. I've used it in planted tanks. It has tons of nutrients, comes in. It's not the cheapest, but it's definitely worth the money. All you gotta do is rinse it out kind of gently, and it's ready to work. So we're gonna rinse it first, but besides that, I'll get some gravel from the same aquarium, and you'll see what I use that for in a minute, to like hold the top of it down once we plant the plant. And then we got our root tabs right here, which we're going to use 2 or 3 in each one, since these are heavily root feeding plants. We're going to put probably 3 or 4 in each one of them, and like it'll just give it a good kickstart. And then like every 6 months or so, you can just get your tongs and like throw in a couple new ones in there. So first of all, I'm gonna measure how much we need. Since we're gonna do 2, we'll do 1 all the way up. You can see if you don't plug the hole, it falls through. 2. Give us just a little extra. And you want to gently rinse. This just helps it from getting your water super cloudy. But you don't want to do it too hard at the same time, because the stuff's delicate. You don't want to break it down. You want it to stay in little balls. All right, we got our soil. Alrighty. With the plants. So our river rocks down there. So we got both of our terracotta pots. We're going to do 2 plants. We're going to use, I like this bigger guy right here that was on the end with the bigger roots, and I like this second one right here. I'm just going to make sure we don't accidentally clip the roots. All you do on these is you're just going to cut it right there. Cut it right here. I got this little extra guy. I'm going to toss him because I know that other spike in there is going to throw off some more plants we can do later. So we got our 2 plants here. Got our good root system on them already. They already have the submerged growth leaves on there. So it shouldn't melt back. It might melt back a little just because of the water, but it's been in that water, so it should be fine. But putting it in the pot should definitely help it grow a little better. So first of all, normally I just grab my pot. We got our river stone in there. I could be a little cleaner and use a scoop or something, but what I normally do is start making a little pocket down in there that I'm going to put the roots in. So I kind of cone it up. Go ahead and do this one as well. room in there. And then this is the key factor for these swords. You want to put, and really, there's all different kinds of brands. I normally use the aquarium co-op ones, but these, I want to see these, the Sea Chem ones. I just got them off PetSmart. And you put them down in here, and these will slowly release nutrients and help. Even though this soil has quite a bit already, these will make it last for a few months until you got to stick some more in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 in each one. Slightly coned out. Start with this one right here. Go ahead and put this little guy all the way down in here. Some more soil. This guy right here. I like that one a lot. Look at those roots. I mean, that's good root growth already. That's gonna make it to the bottom of this pot very fast. It actually might start settling in the gravel underneath if it makes it through that river stone at the bottom, the river rock. I just like to push I have tongs also that you can use to plant these in. I just do it by hand though, it's pretty easy. So all the roots are buried. The unburied little leaves. All right, now for the gravel, I use the gravel. Just put just a little bit of gravel. First of all, it'll match the bottom of your tank if you use the same gravel, and it'll prevent the plant from floating so easy. Now, don't get me wrong, my pluckos like to still pull them out every once in a while. I'll have to go in there and replant them, but I saw this on someone else's video and started doing this a while back, and it definitely helps keep the plants in place. Mark one down. You don't really bury. Gravel's pretty easy to grow back through, so you can kind of bury it, but you don't want to bury the main part of the plant too much. Just put the gravel. There. Voila. That was quick. It could look a little prettier, but hopefully, got 2 new plants right here. And this is actually probably going to grow out faster than that big one, just because the other one's going to totally melt back before these two. These two already have the submerged growth, so they'll probably just keep growing. You can see there's a tiny little leaf right here, a little leaf right there, new growth coming out already. This one right here, same thing, little leaves. I like to try to unbury them just a little, but that's pretty solid in there. I mean, it's not really moving. All right, we'll go back inside. All right, we're back inside. Let's rearrange these little plants and throw our new ones in and see if they stay. So guys, if you don't know much about crypts, these are probably my second favorite style of plant. They come in all different shapes, sizes. I think that's a green crip. There's a red crip. This right here is a pink crip that it's been struggling a little, but it's a little harder to grow. I've had way better luck with CO2. But then you slowly, I'm not sure if y'all can see this, but I slowly let the water in here. Slowly let the water in, let it fill up with water. Drop it very slowly in. There's one. There's two. All right. Probably did that in a total of like 10 minutes, but you see, that big plant right there, I just created those little plants right there. Now, hopefully, one good sized one, I'll throw some pictures in here and you can see how big these get. One good sized one can totally take up the whole tank. I'm just trying to grow some out, see which ones look best, and then eventually be able to transplant them into future tanks, or hopefully like even these smaller ones, they get a little bigger and they throw off some shoots, and like I've done it before where you can have like 9 or 10 new plants that are smaller, but you try to let them grow out and get some good roots going, because you're really just shooting for the roots more than anything. And then a good root system will create some really good plants for you.